What's up, guys? Travis. I'm finally back after a brief hiatus to do a video. Apologize to everybody that that supports my videos. That I was away for a while. I had valid reasons. I don't want to get into it, but I'm back. I'm gonna do this quick video on the next UFC FX card going down this coming Friday. I'm gonna try to breeze through these prelims as quickly as possible. Jake Heck versus Sean Pearson. I don't really care much about this fight. Sean Pearson probably on paper is the better fighter, but he has no chin. Jake Heck does have power in his hands, but I think Sean Pearson will be smart enough not to get caught with a huge shot. I think he is the slightly better grappler than Hecht is, so I'm going to go with Sean Pearson by unanimous decision. Henry Martinez versus Bernardo Magalhães. Bernardo Magalhães probably had one of the worst debut fights in the UFC that I've seen in a while. I'm actually very surprised they brought him back. Henry Martinez, tough guy. Came in late notice at 170 to fight Matt Riddle. A fight I actually thought he won. And now he's dropping down to 155, his natural weight class, I believe. Yeah, I think this fight's going to look like Bernardo's fight he had with Tim Means, where he's just very reluctant to strike and just very cautious. Henry Martinez, is going to keep this on the feet, pick him apart, and win a clear-cut 30-27 unanimous decision for Henry Martinez. Now on to the Fuel TV part of the card. Buddy Roberts versus Caio Magalhães. I don't really know a lot about Caio Magalhães. I know he's inexperienced. He's only 5-0, and he hasn't really fought anybody of notable name. Buddy Roberts, good wrestler. Decent striking, trains out of Jackson's, I believe, so he has a better camp than probably Magalhães. Yeah, I just think Buddy Roberts is just gonna use his wrestling, keep it on the ground, grind out unanimous decision, and probably what will be a kind of a boring fight. So yeah, unanimous decision for Buddy Roberts, the fabulous Freebird. Tim Means versus Justin Salas. Been going kind of back and forth with this one. It's a tough one to pick. Tim Means, better striker, good takedown defense, but Justin Salas, better wrestler, better grappler, and I think he's good enough on the feet to hang with Means. I'm actually going to go with the wrestler here. I know it's kind of cliche, but I'm going to go with Justin Salas. I'm going to say a split decision. I think it means he's a tough guy. Good takedown defense. He'll keep it close, but I think Salas will just eke out a split decision. Dustin Peg versus Jared Papazian. This one's, I think, is pretty simple. Dustin Peg, not really a UFC level fighter. When he was on Tough, they were hyping him as he could be a decent prospect. I don't see it. I don't think his chin is that good. Jared Papazian. Yeah, man, his fight with Mike Easton was probably one of the best fights of the year so far. Definitely top 10. And yeah, I think Papazian's going to get him out of there within the first round. I'm going to say Jared Papazian, late first round TKO. Leonard Garcia versus Matt Grice. This is a fight I think Leonard Garcia will actually win convincingly, because Matt Grice is actually a worse fighter than Leonard Garcia, in my opinion. Grice he's an exciting fighter, but he's not UFC level. Never even has been, even when he was there in lightweight. And I actually think Leonard Garcia is gonna knock him out. I'm gonna say a second round knockout for Leonard Garcia. It catches him on the feet, ground and pounds, and just corpses him. Matt Grice has been knocked out a lot in his career, I believe. Well, I know he did in his last fight. Yeah, Leonard Garcia, second round KO. These days, that's a very bold pick. Mike Pierce versus Carlos Eduardo Rocha. This would have been a very interesting fight. More if Hocha was more active. I think it's been like a year and a half. Hocha has been on the shelf due to like 2 broken arms or something, broken elbows. And Mike Pierce is a very tall order to come back from a long injury layoff. If Hocha was more active, I might have given him a chance. I mean, he gave Jake Ellenberger the fight of his life. I mean, he almost tapped him in the first round, and apparently he went into that fight injured. But I just think Mike Pierce is like, he's one of those guys that will give people a lot of problems. He's a terrible matchup for a lot of people at welterweight. I thought he beat Josh Koscheck. I thought he beat Johnny Hendricks, and he had a very close fight with John Fitch. So all 3 of his UFC losses have been very, very close and debatable, and he's looked good in his wins. I'm going to go keep it safe here. Mike Pierce, 30-27 unanimous decision. Hocha might have some moments in the early part of the fight, but I think the layoff will affect him. But I wouldn't be surprised if Hocha catches him. I think he's a very underrated fighter and is still definitely somebody to look out for at welterweight. And the last Fuel TV fight, Seth Baczynski versus Lance Benoist. This is another tough one. Baczynski, very well-rounded, very big for the division. I mean, he like dwarfed Matt Brown his last fight. Matt Brown's a pretty big welterweight. Lance Benoist looked good against Matt Riddle. Definitely is still a work in progress, but I'm actually going to pick him in this fight. I'm going to say split decision. Lance Benoist. I think Lance Benoist is better on the feet. Ground game's probably about even. Wrestling is about even. Benoist more, I think he's an underrated wrestler, and I think he's going to eke out a split decision. Not too comfortable with that, but never been too high on Seth Baczynski. I think he's going to do well at welterweight due to his size, but I think when he gets a real good, decent challenge, he will fold. Alright, main card, Eddie Wineland versus Scott Jorgensen. Good fight, but unfortunately this is not the kind of fight Eddie Wineland needs. UFC definitely should have thrown him a softball. He's on a 2-fight losing streak against 2 wrestlers, and they throw him another wrestler in Jorgensen. Eddie Wineland, if he fights people that will stand with him, he will do well. His wrestling is underrated, but Scott Jorgensen is a different kind of beast. Hoping Wineland wins, but I gotta go with Scott Jorgensen. I'm gonna say unanimous decision, maybe like a 29-28. Wineland might get the first round, but just a bad matchup for Wineland. And if he does lose this fight, it will be 3 in a row, and hopefully the UFC keeps him around, gives him, throw him a softball. He's an exciting bantamweight to have in their division, and they shouldn't. Hopefully they don't get rid of him if he does lose. Mike Pyle versus Josh Neer. I am a Josh Neer fan, but I will even admit his best days are behind him. His reaction time has decreased. I mean, he has looked good in his first 2 UFC return fights. Keith Wisniewski, just a journeyman, and Dwayne Ludwig, who has no ground game at all. Josh Neer has always struggled with grapplers and or wrestlers that are better than him, and that's what Mike Pyle is. I think Neer is slightly better, but Pyle his stand-up is underrated. It's not bad. I mean, you saw in his last fight with Funch, he knocked him out with a knee. His stand-up is good, but I just think Mike Pyle, just a bad matchup for Neer. I will be pulling for Neer. Like I said, I am a fan of his. I gotta go with Mike Pyle. Unanimous decision. Maybe like a 29-28. Neer might get the first round, because sometimes Pyle will stand with somebody for the first round. So we'll see what happens there. Eric Silva versus Charlie Brenneman. I like this fight a lot because this is a very good test for Silva, and see how he does against wrestlers. I don't think Brenneman, his first 2 fights, Eric Silva just blitzed through. I mean, Luis Ramos knocked him out in 40 seconds. Carlo Pereira, which he did lose, but he didn't. He won that fight in my eyes, and I think in the UFC's eyes. So this is a good test for him. Brenneman, good wrestler, decent striker, good top game. But Brenneman's not somebody Silva's just gonna blitz, within the first minute, because Brenneman will try to get a double leg, and Eric Silva, we don't know how Eric Silva's wrestling defense is, so that's why I like this fight a lot. But I think I'm gonna still go with Eric Silva. I'm gonna say late first, early second round TKO. But I would not be surprised if Brenneman grinds out a decision win, because we don't know how good Eric Silva's wrestling is. Main event, Demetrius Johnson, Ian McCall 2. As most people would probably agree, I thought Ian McCall won the first fight, 2 rounds to 1. I mean, the judging in that fight was ridiculous. This is a 5-round fight, and I favor Ian McCall because he's been at flyweight more. And I think Ian McCall kind of exposed Demetrius Johnson's weakness in their first fight. When Demetrius gets pressured and he gets put on his back, and the fighter can keep him there, he has problems. Dominic Cruz did it in their fight. Brad Pickett did it. And Ian McCall did it in the 3rd round. I think Ian McCall has learned from this. And I'm going to go with Ian McCall to win this fight. I think it'll still be close, but I think he will, employ that game plan of trying to catch Mighty Mouse, put him on his back, ground and pound. I don't think he'll finish it. Demetrius is a hard guy to finish. And I don't think he has never been finished. So I'm going to say Ian McCall, 5-round unanimous decision, at least 3 rounds to 2. Johnson might win a round or 2, I see. But yeah, Ian McCall, unanimous decision in another very awesome fight. Their first fight was great. So that's my picks. Hopefully I'll be back to do the next FX card. And yeah, see you guys later.